Okay, so it's such a pleasure to be here, and it's just an honor. Hi, everybody. My name is Jack. I'm a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I write those meals down, call them into my qualified gray sheet sponsor. Abstinence today is the most important thing in my life without exception. And my abstinence day is February 1st, 2020. It's such an honor. Thanks, Pauline, for asking me to speak. It's such a pleasure to see you and Joel and all of you. Oh my God. I gotta tell you, since Friday, I got really, really excited, honestly. I was on a 5 p.m. beginners meeting on the phone bridge on Friday, and somebody talked about the uh what do you call it? Oh my God, the obsession. And I could feel it in their words. They were just coming, I could hear it. And it's like I forgot. And I normally don't share on it. I just listen. And I got on there and I shared about the obsession, and I shared about the for me. And the person had texted me and said, thank you for that. But, you know, it says my internet's unstable. I've gotten a reprieve on on my stability. So this is good news, you know? Anyway, uh, I've been thinking quite a bit about that. And then I realized that this is a beginner's meeting. And I thought, wow, this is so great. And, I came to Gray Sheet, a person
Jack,
Maybe,
in there.
I think we lost you. I think we
yeah,
lost
you're
you
coming
for a
in.
minute
Jack, Jack might need to turn off his camera. Sometimes that helps
Oh,
the
okay.
audio. Well, and then you can turn it back on after. Great.
Okay.
We'll
Can
see
you
if
hear
that
me
helps.
now?
Yeah, we'll see if that helps.
Okay, good. I need all the help I can get, Paulina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So anyway, I started hearing this, and it was something very, very different about her. Very different. And OA 90, you have to have 90 days to share or do service or anything like that. And she was doing a lot of the heavy lifting at the meeting. There weren't too many people in Brown. Now, if you go down to Northampton, Mass, which is not far, or Greenfield, or any of those areas like that, Massachusetts, Orange, Mass, and all that, there's a lot of abstinence in OA 90, but it seemed up where I was, there wasn't. And what I did was, I didn't hit okay. So there you go. So she kept on bringing in these speakers, and she would bring half hours to get there, and maybe they would stay overnight. I'm not quite sure, but she had been abstinent about 12 years. That was 2004. And so she gave out a phone bridge list, and I started to get on the phone bridge. And I started listening. I was very happy. I had a 5:30 meeting and then a 7 a.m. meeting. And it was jumping then. I mean, there was not a lot of moderators or something like that, but there was an excitement there. And but I couldn't get abstinent. I would get 3 months or 4 months. And finally, a woman from Cambridge called me. She's no longer with us. And she said, why don't I take your food for 3 months till you get 90 days? And then you can come to Cambridge and speak. I said, okay. So, I started giving her my food, and it was around Halloween. It was a couple days before Halloween, and my youngest child was, 5 years old. And so I was able to go out with my cell phone, able to go out trick-or-treating with my youngest child, always having the phone next to me, trick-or-treating. And that was an absolute miracle. And I didn't get into her bag of tricks and treats afterwards, which was remarkable. Now, I don't know how that happened, but it was so exciting. And I got I got the 90 days and drove to Cambridge, who was living in Western Mass at that time, was coming up to Brattleboro. She brought in Sally and George, who was, these wonderful people who were the pioneers of Gray Sheet. So, some of the pioneers of Gray Sheet. And I didn't know that. What did I know? But they had a meeting going on in Hampshire, which was only 20 minutes from where I live. So I would start going there on Tuesday night. And finally, after a while, Sally said to me, "We can't help you no longer here, Jack." And she gave me directions to Cambridge. And it wasn't a far leap for me because I would drive from Vermont with a couple other people on Saturday or Sunday, I forget which day it was, to the Medford meeting, OA 90. And it was huge, huge. So, I knew the area and all. So I went down that Saturday and I just fell in love with Gray Sheet. In the meantime, this other person was taking my food. And uh, when I got 90 days, I spoke uh, at the Cambridge meeting, and I just loved it. It was so exciting. When I got there, the people saw me sit up front. There was an AA meeting going on across the hall. They didn't say to me, this is OA Gray Sheet. They said, "Come right in, sit up front," which was beautiful. I had that Death Star look on my face, the scream. And I just fit in. I mean, the people were sitting on the windowsills. It was packed. It was enormous. And I was very excited. And it got to be where I bring my older son, who was autistic but very functional, down with me. And he would love it. He'd walk around Harvard Square and go to whatever. And he was going to move down there, and things changed. But I started then coming to the Watertown meeting. And then the Saturday night they had a men's meeting, Gray Sheet. Then Sunday I would go to the Sunday night hospital, Cambridge hospital meeting. And it was all, and I would stay there for a period of time as well. And from time to time. And so anyway, it was all exciting. I left after almost 5 years. I left. And I would like to explain it, the details, but I'm telling you, I don't think there's no details for the relapse. And came back 6 years later. And when I came in, I was probably about 80 pounds overweight. When I left for that 6 years, I gained 140 pounds, high blood pressure, diabetes, the whole deal. And oh my goodness gracious, I was dying, and people were calling me from Gray Sheet, and I came back. And and so many things wonderful. And my first abstinence, I was going down to Texas for the retreat in Austin when they had it in Austin, and Florida had a little retreat going on. I mean, I was traveling. I was having a lot of fun with being abstinent, and my schedule. I was coming to New York and Westport, Connecticut, and it just was fun for me, and I loved the people. And I just left, and after my youngest child was sick, and a lot of things took place. And after about 6 years of being gone, I, it was plain to me I had to come back. There was nothing else for me left. I thought I was going to die. And I came back, and everybody welcomed me, and I started my routine of travel and phone bridge meetings and things like that. And it was exciting. And uh, we go to New York quite a bit, and certainly Cambridge and Watertown all the time. They had at least 3 meetings a week. There were eating meetings at lunchtime where you brought your lunch and everything. And and my sponsor at the time was from that area. He was living in another state. He was giving me directions. What street is what's how to get here and there. Oh my God. I'd be on the phone with him. Where's this? I'm lost. And he'd say, make a left, do it, make a right. What street are you on? Oh, turn around, go the other way. It was just, and he's still he's still around, and God bless him. And he would say things like this to me: "Just be Jack." I was always worried about my impact on others, and he says, "Just be Jack." And then he'd say, "Don't be afraid of your abstinence. Don't be afraid of your recovery." I mean, that I hear those sounds every day. I happened to see him the other day, on a Zoom meeting, and I hear him from time to time. And it's just miraculous for me that the love that's here. It's just amazing. And so that's I came back for another 5 years, and I I went through some serious operation. I swallowed a piece of plastic in my breakfast food, and it cut off my lower bowel, and I almost died. I almost was septic. And I went in, and that sponsor walked me through with the food. He says, "Just tell them you had diabetes, and they'll do whatever you want them to do. They won't give any sugar items." And that's all I said. That was the magic word. I had diabetes, and they just gave me anything I wanted. And I was ordering what I wanted, and it was fun. And people called me and all. And uh, I went to yoga school for a year, became a yoga teacher at 72, and
Hey,
10 minutes, 12
no,
minutes,
8.
eight. Okay, eight left. Beautiful. Um, so anyway, uh, after all that beauty and all that, and I was dating somebody in GreySheet that we had been friends, and she was living in another state, and we'd meet in New York, we'd meet in Westport, we'd meet in Cambridge, and it was fun. It was just really, really fun. And I just left. And I was out there for 6 months, gained another 60, 70 pounds, whatever it was. But the mental, and sometimes I get lost in this story, and I don't tell you about what the food does to me. Mentally, I just can't think. I mean, and the progression is I couldn't make decisions that were for the welfare of myself, my children, anything else. It impaired me very, very much. And I came back, and I've been back now. And when I tell you it's been 4.5 years, you know, the same sponsor told me, "You've got to be a newcomer every day. You've got to be a beginner every day, Jack." Call me on the phone. Jack, you've got to be a beginner every day. I've watched other people, but you have to be a beginner every day and do what beginners do, and don't get lost in blah, blah, blah. And on Friday, when I heard that person speak, it broke my heart. I thought, what have I been saying? I got to get back onto some beginners meetings on the phone bridge, some relapse recovery meetings, because that's where my heart is I know what the obsession is. I know what the withdrawal is. I know the shame of coming back. I know the losing of the weight. I know the clarity that comes back in increments for me. It was increments. And even though I might have thought I had more. I didn't. So the beauty in Gray Sheet is, like the fourth tradition talks about, I can make mistakes, I don't have to be right all the time. And so you allowed me to make mistakes and be Jack, and just I would flap my lip, blah, 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 blah. And then I'd think, "Oh my God, what did I say? I sound like a moron," And oh my goodness gracious. So it's taken me a long time to recover. I was at an AA meeting at noon, and the guy emphasized in the promises, he said, "Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly," And I went up to him afterwards, and I thanked him. And the room was 60 people. I mean, it's really amazing. And I thanked him. I said, "I really needed to hear that slowly." And some people talk about, may you have a slow recovery. And just knowing what that relapse feels like, what being a beginner feels like, gives me the ability to be of some kind of use. I know in the big book, it talks about frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our day. You know, our lives. This is the bright spot of it with you. I mean, I know you all. I've seen you all on meetings. I've been to retreats with you. I've been to, you know, all different. I've heard you on a phone bridge. I've heard you here. I've heard you there, and you've impacted my life. And that's what I have to remember today. And I will tell you before I end, you know, 40 years ago, Northampton, VA, locked wards, blah, 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 tied down in 5-point restraints. Today, my life is very calm. I only tell you that not to do anything other than saying that was then. Today, I have clarity. I have a calm life. My wife and I have a beautiful home here in Fort Myers, Florida. We married down here. I was 76. She was 77. I mean, can you get it? Do you get this? That's gray sheet. That is gray sheet. Oh my God. You know, so anyway, I love being abstinent. I love it, love it, love it. And I'm so grateful for that person that shared on Friday. She changed my whole trajectory. You know, somebody that couldn't get a day one. You know what that is. I can't get a day one. I'm in the food. I'm face down in the food. I can't get a day one. And I know this person will get a day one. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll pass that.